Hey guys, today I'm going to go over the W's like the, why, where, how, which, I guess there's an H in there too, of the different cancer policies available, the ones that we've written, why we write, which ones we write, and I think it'll be a good informative video for you to kind of choose which one you want to write. I don't think there's like a right and wrong answer, but I'm going to give just kind of the basic things we look at, and I'm sure there'll be something we miss here. So please comment below any things that you think we missed or any questions you still have about the different cancer policies we're writing. So check it out. All right, guys, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the pros and cons of Aetna Cancer, Heart Attack, and Stroke, or cancer policy. It is the number one that we wrote this year, and there are a couple of improvements they recently made that made it a very easy write. So the first thing that I will talk about is that we were writing a lot of Aetna Medicare supplement, and so there was some convenience added to their product, being that their Aetna quote and enroll electronic application makes it very easy to quote and enroll that application right when you're doing a Medicare supplement. We also did quite a bit of their dental, vision, and hearing because of this, but we've recently turned that off and gone back to Manhattan Life due to, after writing about 80 of them, we started having claims issues for going outside of Carrington Network that we didn't experience with Manhattan. Plus, the vision and hearing benefit were a little better with Manhattan. But right now we're going to focus on the cancer. So I'm going to go through, highlight just a couple of things that I think are important. Number one, I don't think Aetna has the best rate, but they have one of the better rates. They probably are second in the lineup on rates for who we are writing. But they have some cool things going for them. One, they only have a 5-year look back on cancer diagnosis or treatment. So if someone was treated and went into remission or cured of cancer 6 years ago, they would not. They would be able to get Aetna, whereas some of the other ones that we've written, they would not be able to get. So let's just go through a quick quote as if I am just now turning 65. And let's say not 01, it's after 01. So we're going to want it to be effective February 1st. And it's based, let me pull this up. No, tobacco also does not go into their the rate comparison there. Did a female, so Justine Brock. I want to put an email, you don't really have to put any of those stuff right there. You can come in here and quote the cancer only. Now, one thing that we do a lot of is lump sum cancer benefits, especially with MedSup and Medicare Advantage. This makes sense. There's not an unlimited out-of-pocket on either one of these typically with your cancer coverage, so we're doing lump sum to help with drug costs if they come up, or if it's a Medicare Advantage plan, you're doing some to help them meet the maximum out of pocket, and then maybe as well some drug costs. So typically we're doing between $10,000 and $20,000 lump sums pretty regularly, and when you quote that on here, you can get it with the recurrence rider at $10,000 for $2,780. Now, one of the really cool things that Aetna does is they base their husband and wife rate on the youngest person's birthday. So if you had someone who was married to a 75-year-old male here, you could write that $10,000 cancer policy and use the 64-year-old rate. Okay, so you get a $51.91 for a 64 and a 75-year-old simultaneously. You get $51.91 for the couple. So that's pretty cool. You can save face on a lot of getting double applications. You can even use it as a sales incentive to get the spouse to buy it. And you can say, hey, but you can get it at your wife's rate, which is going to save you money and make it a much better value. Now, when you go through their enrollment process, Justine is married to Billy Bob. Okay. It's a pretty simple application. If you haven't been through the Aetna Senior Supplemental application, we're looking at the look-back period, and like again I was saying, it's 5 years. They do talk about 10 years on AIDS or HIV, which they all do, but 5 years on the active cancer diagnosis, and then you kind of get into the other specific instances they're talking about, but the look-back period is 5 years. Do you have any other health insurance in force? Normally, I mean, you can go in here and put Medicare, or whatever they have, but we're not replacing. If we're not replacing the cancer policy, it's not particularly relevant here. Moving on, you get to this page. You're verifying what coverage, the effective date, the premium, and you're putting a beneficiary. You can just put estate, and well, I have put it before, but I guess I just put spouse. But normally I just take whoever the primary is and put the secondary as the beneficiary. So the secondary was Billy Bob. And of course you can ask them if they want a separate beneficiary, which is what you're probably supposed to do. But we're going to put Billy Bob Brock, and that's the spouse. Next. Okay. Don't have to put a height and weight on here at all. And right here, because it's a husband and wife application, you just have to put his social. You don't have to put all that other stuff again. Okay, now get into here. Love their new e-app. You can actually set up, if you're doing dual apps, like for Medicare supplements, you can actually put multiple bank accounts with theirs, which is something a lot of other applications don't let you do. So, add that, and then you can pop it on here, do effective date or approval date. A lot of them don't give you that option. You can select your draft date and continue. Application, no. So we're going to have the policy delivered to the applicant. We're not going to have them receive it electronically. Continue on. And we're going to do start signature process. If you're on the phone, they have a security question option. What is your mother's maiden name? Chapman. If you're in person, you can just click to sign there. This is a pretty cool option here. Billy Bob has to give his mother's maiden name too. They're inbred, so it's Chapman as well. Applicant, boom, agree. Applicant agent signature, boom, and then you submit application, which I'm not going to do right now. I'm just going to go back. And then I'm going to kind of tell you why really quickly I think a lot of people are using this option right now. And that's just, if you're on here already doing a Medicare supplement, just do here. Let's say you're writing a plan in open enrollment. Look at that plan in rate. So good. All right, so we're adding that to cart. Well, I can just go right here and go to my cancer, add my $10,000 cancer option, like I'm on Amazon. Boom, stacking it right up there. So we'll just add that in there. And then you saw how the rate kind of jumped when they went to over 65. They get it, it's age banded, so if you get it under 65, for that person it would have been 27. Over 65 is 32. So that creates a little urgency as well. You can say, hey, you're turning 65, let's lock this in now. It'll be $5 cheaper the rest of your life. So go right here. Recovery care has actually been pretty popular too. If you're looking for somebody with wanting an affordable long-term care option. So there's all these great cross-sell opportunities in here. If they can ever get the dental improved, it's also a great place to cross-sell the dental because you can throw it in there so easily. You're just adding it all to cart, and you're sitting here and boom, you're checking out with all those products. And it morphs them into one application. One application, you're putting it all together. So that's pretty smooth. So that has probably been, the application process probably been the number one reason we wrote most of the Aetna on our cancer policies. The second one that we wrote this year, probably Mutual of Omaha. We wrote a few of there. And theirs is pretty much price driven because they have the cheapest rate on these lump sum cancer policies. And I'll give you an example. We'll go to the electronic application. One thing I don't like about theirs is on their electronic applications, they're all very separate. So it's like a whole new application process. The critical illness application is a little outdated. It kind of looks like you're doing an electronic application 10 years ago. So, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. So let's say we're doing that same 65-year-old cancer. We're going down to 10,000. Theirs will also only go down to 10,000, whereas Aetna's is going down to the 5,000 mark. For people over a certain age, you can only do the lifetime benefit. But for younger people, they actually have term cancer policies, which is, a neat thing. But as you can see, that 65-year-old, $22.12 on a $10,000 cancer policy, as opposed to $32 on the other. Now theirs does not have a recurrence rider, so the other one does. But even the Aetna one with the recurrence rider was still, without the recurrence rider, was still a little more expensive than this one. So, if it's rate driven for you, you have to do what you got to do. On here, I can't ever remember this commission code, but you can get through it without having the perfect one. If you put the right one, it'll still get routed to the right place. Okay, we're going to do guaranteed lifetime lump sum cancer. They have these riders here. You can do the heart attack and stroke rider if you want to. ICU rider, cash value rider. I don't normally do any of that stuff. But it's a pretty simple application. And at the end, if you're in person, the signature option's pretty easy. But Aetna has the better one with the mother's maiden name signature option. The last one is we wrote some Manhattan Life cancer and some Nat Gen cancer. Honestly, it's a convenience play because you can write it all in the same application, and if you're doing a bundled under 65 application with someone, it's good to not have 4 or 5 different companies. It gets confusing for the client. So with the Nat Gen or the Manhattan, it was just like adding on their cancer, even though maybe it wasn't priced as well as the Aetna or Mutual Omaha. So that is pretty much it on the cancer policies. I hope that answers a few of your questions about where we're writing cancer. And I urge you to quote cancer as often as possible because it is becoming quickly our #1 cross seller over some of the other options out there. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Subscribe, please.